If you ever find yourself driving down Interstate 80 through Nebraska at 3 a.m. and your fuel gauge hits empty, pray that you can make it to the next town. Because if you pull into the Old Oak Gas Express off exit 42, you might never leave. I used to think urban legends were just things teenagers made up on Reddit to scare each other. But 3 weeks ago, I took a night shift job at that exact station. The pay was 3 times the state average, paid in cash every morning. I thought I struck gold. But on my very first night, the manager handed me a laminated sheet of paper with just 3 rules. And rule number 3 was, if a 1950s black Cadillac pulls up to pump number 4, do not look at the driver's side window. No matter what you hear. I should have walked out right then. I wish to God I had.
My name is Ryan. I'm a college student, and like most people my age in America right now, I was desperate for cash. Rent in Lincoln wasn't getting any cheaper. So when I saw a Craigslist ad for a graveyard shift attendant with immediate start and no background check, I didn't ask questions. The station was ancient. It felt like a relic from a bygone era, frozen in the 1970s. The nearest house was 15 miles away. Surrounding us was nothing but miles and miles of pitch-black cornfields. The first few hours were exactly what you'd expect. Mind-numbing silence. I swept the floors, restocked the energy drinks, and watched the static on the old security monitors. Around 2:15 a.m., a trucker stopped by, bought a black coffee, looked at me with a strange, pitying expression, and left without saying a word. After his truck rumbled away, then came 3 a.m. The digital clock on the register flipped to 3, and at that exact second, the overhead fluorescent lights buzzed loudly and dimmed to a sickening amber hue. I stood up, goosebumps immediately breaking out across my arms. I looked out the large glass storefront. Through the heavy rain, a vehicle pulled in. It didn't make a sound. No engine noise, no tires splashing on the wet asphalt. It was a vintage, pitch-black Cadillac. It looked brand new, its polished chrome catching the amber glow of the station lights. It rolled precisely up to pump number 4. My heart did a violent flip in my chest. The rules. I remembered the manager's warning. Pump number 4. Do not look. I immediately forced my eyes down to the tile floor. The audio speakers
I stared at my dirty
store
sneakers,
crackled
gripping
to life,
the edge of the counter
but it wasn't
so
music.
hard my knuckles
It was a
turned
voice.
white. It
Outside,
sounded like it
the
was
car
coming
door
from
didn't
inside
open.
the store.
Right
Nobody got
behind
out
my
to
neck.
pump gas.
Ryan,
The silence
it
stretched
whispered,
for what felt
"Help
like
me.
hours, broken
It's so
only
cold
by the
out
loud,
here.
rhythmic
Just look at
thumping
me,
of
Ryan."
my own pulse.
The
in
voice
my
shifted.
ears. It changed from a desperate woman to the sound of my childhood friend, then to a weeping child. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to look up to check if someone was actually dying out there in the Nebraska rain. My head began to lift involuntarily. My eyes traveled up from my sneakers to the base of the counter to the glass window. Through the glass, I could see the Cadillac. The driver's side window was rolled down halfway. Inside the darkness of the car, there was no person.
Suddenly,
Just
the
a
whispering
mass of
stopped.
shifting, writhing
The entities
shadows
realized
and
their
two pale,
psychological
yellow
trick
orbs
hadn't
staring
fully worked.
directly back at the store.
sweet voices
I
turned
stopped my
into
gaze
a collective
just an inch. Demonic shriek
Below
that
the
shattered
window
one of
level,
the outer
I
display
realized
windows.
that if I looked just
Look at
2
us,
inches higher,
they screamed.
I would lock eyes
The Cadillac's
with whatever
horn
was sitting
began
in that
blaring
car.
continuously, a deafening, unnatural sound. The glass doors of the convenience store began to bend inward under an immense pressure, cracking down the center. I knew the rules said to stay, but I also knew that glass wasn't going to hold. I didn't care about the cash anymore. I grabbed my car keys from the counter, bolted into the back break room, and threw open the heavy metal fire exit. I ran out into the pouring rain, dove into my old Honda Civic parked in the employee alley, and slammed my foot on the gas. I didn't look back until I hit the main highway. When I glanced at my rearview mirror, the Old Oak Gas Express was gone.
There were no lights, no neon signs, just an empty, overgrown field dot.
The next morning, my bank account showed a direct deposit of $500 from an unknown corporate entity. I blocked the manager's number, quit the job, and I haven't driven at night since. So, if you're ever road tripping across America and you see a fading neon sign off exit 42, keep driving. no matter how empty your tank is, because some rules aren't meant to be broken. And some stations don't sell gas. They harvest souls.